All right, welcome everyone to the Shotgun Hotels Hospitality SoftNet training of the sales process. Today we're going to be reviewing the 4 steps of the sales process, which in our previous trainings we've kind of gone over parts of them, and now it's going to all come together for you. Okay, and you guys have the PowerPoint as well. If you're not able to see my screen, you can follow along that way. So who can tell me what is the first step of the sales process?
Discovery.
Introducing your
Introduction. Discovery, yeah, kind of the same thing. So thank you, Blake. So the introduction it includes, introducing yourself, developing rapport, and stating the purpose of the call. Oh, hang on, more people joining. Oh, there's Corey. Okay. Hi, Corey. Thanks for joining. We're just getting started talking about the sales process here in the first step, which is the introduction step, where you're going to introduce yourself. It's important how you answer your phone. The greeting, you want to make sure that, because that will kind of set the tone for your call. So you want to be in control, be sure to introduce yourself, and you want to build rapport throughout the call. Somebody give me an example of how you can build some rapport with a new client.
They find commonalities, like maybe you're both from the same place or have the same background.
Good idea, yes. Using their name is a simple one that kind of builds rapport. Asking for acceptance throughout the call, that's another way to build rapport. Just be mindful of the proper telephone etiquette, and we kind of had a training on that. I think it was beginning of this year or end of last year, we did the training on like the email and voicemail kind of etiquette. So somebody give me an example. How do you answer your phone?
This is Rosemary. I answer it. Thank you for calling the Doubletree by Hilton Schenectady. This is Rosemary. How may I help you?
Perfect. You identified yourself, your department. Excellent job. Thank you, Rosemary. So again, you just want to make sure you're taking control of the call. Identify yourself and your department. And then another way to build rapport, you want to ask for acceptance, use their name throughout the call, and you want to set the call up. So typically saying something in the realm of, thank you for calling, Sally. I just want to take a few minutes of your time to better understand your needs and tell you a little bit about our hotel in light of those needs. How does that sound? You're asking for acceptance. You're letting them know that we're going to have a conversation here. It'll take a few minutes, so they're prepared. And a couple other things, just because you're on the phone with etiquette, be timely in returning your calls. We like to return calls within the same business day. And then when you place someone on hold, always make sure that you're thanking them when you pick the phone back up from being on hold. Oh, I guess I should have moved my slide over. There we go. Okay, what's the second step of the sales process? Questioning, qualifying, yep, discovering, that deal. So, when you're qualifying, you want to make sure you're effectively qualifying. In order to do a great job to present, you've got to make sure you're asking the right questions and then selling your features and benefits. The goal when you're qualifying is to learn as much as possible, but you don't want to give the impression that you're like interrogating the client. So you really want them to be talking most of the time. So you're listening 80% of the time, talking 20%. Key to that is using a good mix of some open-ended and closed-ended questions. Um, so give me some examples of some open-ended and closed-ended questions. And there's a worksheet in your packet what does it say at the top? It says worksheet, and then it's got type of question, and then there's an example. The first one on here is, Michael, I would like to ask you a few questions about what you will need for your meeting so I can have a good understanding of what it is you're looking for. This way I can put together the best pricing package available for you. Would that be all right? So that's a very closed-ended questions. Who has an example of an open-ended question?
Tell me a little bit more about what you value in a hotel.
There you go. And that's finding their hot buttons there as well.
Asking what the purpose of the travel or the event is.
Great example, most definitely. What's a closed-ended question?
When is your decision date?
There you go. Simple one answer question, or it could be like a yes or no question. I want to give you guys, what time is it? It's 10:11. I'll give you 2 minutes. Write down a few closed-ended and open-ended qualifying questions that you use on your inquiry calls, and then we'll go over just a few more. Or we could do it this way. How about this? So I put up some qualifying questions on the screen here. What's the first one? Tell me a little about your group coming in, or what's bringing them into the area. Is that closed-ended or open-ended?
Open. That's open.
Open. Purpose of event, we talked about that and said that was open. Are your dates flexible? It's a yes or no question. So that's a closed-ended question.
Closed.
Yep. Ask what the company does. What do you do?
Yeah.
It's a very open-ended question. That can give you some good insight too as to any other needs that they might have. How they heard about the hotel. It's a good open-ended question. Make sure you're always asking, are they calling around to other hotels? And you want to be, if they just say yes, you want to say, okay, well, which ones? You got to find out which hotels you're going to be selling against so we can sell against the competition. Do you have a budget? Who's your decision maker? What's important to the decision maker? That's where you're going to find your hot buttons, as Michelle stated earlier. What's important to the group? Those are always two open-ended questions that you're going to be able to get all of their hot buttons and what's important to them from those two questions right there. What's important to the decision maker and what's important to the actual people that are coming. And there's a few other questions on there. Decision date's a good one. How they're going to make reservations and payment be made. If it's a meeting inquiry, what's your food and beverage needs, audio visual for group, how many rooms do you need, what days. Always make sure you ask if their dates are flexible as well. That's a big one if it's a group inquiry. And then if it's like more of an L&R kind of call that you're getting, you always want to make sure you find out if they want last room or non-last room availability as well. Okay, I think we covered all of those. So selling against competition. Give me some examples of how you sell against your competition.
Well, you've got to ask which hotels they've reached out to first.
Exactly. You don't want to only find out, if they're looking at other facilities, but which ones they are. Who are they? And don't assume that they'll just volunteer that info for you. You're probably 9 times out of 10 going to ask them specifically what hotel it is. Then you want to just take a few minutes and sell against your competition in a positive fashion, of course. Your product knowledge sheet is a good resource for you guys to look at to be able to sell against your competition. An example of, oh, let me switch slides here. Example of selling against competition in a positive manner. You could, are you considering other hotels? They say, yeah, I'm looking at the Baymont, for example. Okay, Sally, I'm very familiar with that hotel. I know it's a nice place. Location's probably going to be one of the main factors to use when you're selling against the competition. So for example, you might want to keep in mind our location. We're ideal for your type of meeting, what you have in your area. We've got more restaurants closer to the hotel, more convenient to the interstate, maybe, all depending on where your hotel's at. And then, so if you have a restaurant on site, you can sell that as well for the convenience. So it's more convenient, especially if you're a full service versus a limited service hotel. Somebody give me an example of how they sell against their competitor in a positive manner.
It's Katie from Westfield. Since there's only 3 of us really over here, a lot of times people will tell you about the location, but I'll usually let them know that we have the easiest access from 3132 and pretty much the most stuff around us to get to within walking distance.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be your main selling factors, everything closer to you than your competition, for sure, Katie. That's a great example. What about our Shock It Uniques? It's a good way to sell against the competition. What are our Shock It Uniques? There's 3 of them. Who can tell me?
Family owned since 1962.
That's one. Who's got another one?
Top 15% is rated by TripAdvisor.
Thank you, Ms. Kimberly. And what's the third one? That was changed last year because of the pandemic.
Shock It Shine Lips.
That's right. Nice job. So when you guys do get shopped, you have to mention 2 of those 3 uniques on your call, or I think it's 5 points that will be deducted from your call. So keep that in mind. Those are great assets to you guys to use to sell and set you apart from your competition. Okay, so once we find out their hot buttons, then we kind of move in to where we're going to show the features and benefits. And was it last month we did the features and benefits training? Do you see how this is all coming together now to get you guys through the whole process? So there's another worksheet, which you guys should have already filled out your feature and benefit chart from the training from either last month or the month before. I can't remember which one it was, of some features and benefits. So if you guys have those off the top of your head, or if you need a couple minutes to review, I'd like to go over what are some features and benefits that you sell when you're talking to clients.
One of the features is complimentary on-site laundry.
What's the benefit?
The benefit is they don't have to go anywhere to clean any of their laundry, and they don't have to put quarters in a machine.
No, complimentary. That saves them some money. Good example. Thank you, Blake. Justin, I see that you joined us. Good morning.
Yes, I don't know if you guys can hear me, and I don't know if I have a camera, but I can hear you.
Yep, awesome. We can hear you. I don't think any of us can see each other. I don't know if any of these branded computers have cameras on them. Mine doesn't even have one. My laptop, it has one, but it's never worked. Which I'm getting a new one today, and I'm so excited about. So we'll see if that one works. Finally, it took forever for it to get in. Okay, so why is it important to go over our features and benefits when we're talking to clients?
They may not know
Help
what we
them
have to
understand
offer.
our product.
exactly. And for example, say you've got a business client coming in and you tell them about your pool. Are they going to care, or are they going to be like, so what? You want to make sure what you're presenting that to them with their features and benefits is what's important to them. So that's why it's very important that you go over their hot buttons when you are in the qualification stage. Excuse me. Okay, so an example again of, Sally, you said that shuttle to the airport was important to you. So I can let you know, Sally, that we do have a complimentary airport shuttle that runs 24/7 on a request basis. How does that sound? So that's an example of addressing their need with a feature, a benefit, and then asking for that acceptance, building that rapport. And I used her name, so everything kind of comes together that way. What's the third process of selling? The presentation. So once you go through your features and benefits, you're ready to present. So you want to kind of transition into that presentation as well with some sort of a statement. Does anyone have a transition statement that they want to share with the group? All right, I will share what I would do. In order to transition, I'd usually kind of recap. So once I went through the qualifying stage with them, I would say, okay, Sally, I just kind of want to recap our conversation so I understand your needs. You need this many rooms for this check-in and check-out date and meeting space on this date and this date for this many people. And you said that shuttle, free Wi-Fi, and breakfast were important to you. Is there anything I failed to mention? And they're going to be like, nope, you got it all. That sounds great. So that's when we start our presentation stage. And again, in the presentation stage, you want to make sure you're tailoring that to what you discovered in the qualification stage. Present your features and their corresponding benefits. Use the trial closes, like how does that sound? Will that work for you? Do you think your guests would enjoy that? That kind of thing. And then at the end of your presentation, you can quote your pricing. You never want to quote a price until after you've presented. Why is that?
Because you want to sell all the features of the hotel before you talk pricing.
Exactly. And that's going to help you overcome some objections as well, which we've already had our training. So when you're presenting, try and paint a picture to your customer, especially if they're not very familiar with your hotel. Address the buy factors, of course, that you discovered in the qualification stage. So now I'm going to give you guys like 5 minutes to write a presentation with a transition using features and benefits from your worksheet, and we've had those from prior trainings. And then I want to share just a couple of them. Take some volunteers. So 5 minutes. Hasn't quite been 5 minutes, but does anyone have their presentation done and want to share?
I can.
Go for it.
It's Katie. So thank you for sharing with me what is important to you. I think our hotel can truly meet your needs. We actually just recently became pet friendly, which is something that you know that your travelers need so they don't have to board their animals. We also have direct access to a walking trail so you can take your pets for a walk.
One more thing. Ask for acceptance. How does that sound? Will that work for you?
Okay.
Great job. Anyone else want to share?
I will. This is Corey Fairfield. I use the same name as you, Jenny. Sally, I see that I see what's important to your travelers is Wi-Fi, dining options, and accessibility. We have complimentary Wi-Fi. We are one of the only hotels within walking distance to dining and entertainment, and we are right off the main highway. How does that sound?
Perfect. Thank you. Anybody else? One more? Who haven't I heard from? Casey.
I knew you were about to call on me. I honestly didn't really, I mean, I've made notes, like, as everybody else has, like, said theirs, but I didn't really, like, write one out because I feel like it, I don't know, I guess I'm the type that I like to see how the conversation's going and build that rapport and kind of build it off of that. But, I mean, I guess the notes that I have written down is, like, you need so many rooms for these dates. You've mentioned that, you know, a pool being open for your team is important to you. We do have a pool with signups, you know, and kind of go through the feature and benefit of that. And then how does that sound? Or do you think that would work for you? Or, I don't know. Again, I just made like kind of notes as everybody was saying it. I didn't really write a full script.
Yeah. Right. No, that's great. What's one thing that every traveler is weary of nowadays? Is our hotel clean? So cleanliness is probably going to be something that you'll find when talking to guests, and a great way, you know, to sell that. Yes, we have, you know, depending on your brand, you all have your branded clean programs as well as our Shock and Shine. And that's one of your uniques as well, that you have to mention at least 2 of the 3 during, if it's a shop call. You should always mention those. It sets you guys apart from your competition. So thank you everyone for sharing. Any questions? Okay. What's the last step of the sales process?
Closing.
Closing. There's 2 types of closings. What are those?
The trial close and assumptive close.
All right. Give me an example of one, Blake.
I only assumptive close.
You do.
I just assume that they're calling and they want my business, so I'm just going to assume that they want it, and I go from there. I quote a rate if I'm able to quote a rate on the phone, and I present it to them, and I just ask them how that sounds, and I can get a contract out to you right away.
Awesome job. How's that work for you? 9 times out of 10, you make that sell?
Most of the time it works. If they're on the phone and the number works and everything that you've sold them up to that point works, the assumptive close is the easiest one. Trial closes throughout the trial. I try trial closes throughout the process sometimes, depending on what the type of sales call it is.
Right.
That how does that sound? How does that doing? Those are still trial closes.
Yes. Anyone else have an example of that was the assumptive? What about a direct close? one other thing that's important when you're doing your close is you've got to make sure you ask if they want a contract. Can I send you over a contract? Something along those lines. Again, it's always good to kind of recap their needs as you're presenting your close. So kind of the example that I stated earlier. All right, Sally, I've got the guest rooms that you needed. I've got the meeting space that you requested. You know that I offer the complimentary shuttle, the free Wi-Fi, the breakfast. I can offer you a rate of $119. Would you like me to go ahead and send you over a contract? Direct close. If it's a shop call, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be like, no, I got to like check with my boss or whatever. I'll get back to you. That's a good opportunity. If you didn't in the greeting portion get their contact information, definitely a great opportunity there to get that information. And 9 times out of 10, it's a good idea to go to kind of a tentative agreement pending their decision. If they don't say yes, send me a contract on the phone. Say, okay, great. Here's what I can do. I can put a tentative hold on it for you. I can send you over an agreement to review. Let me get your contact information. And then you always want to make sure that you set a time to follow up. So you found out their decision date during the qualifying stage. So you're making a decision on Friday. How about I give you a call, Sally, Friday at 2 p.m. To see what you've decided. And they were like, sure, that works. Great. Thank you so much. And then it's over. So 2 key things when it comes to closing: make sure you ask for that contract and make sure you set a follow-up time. So now I'm going to play a recording. Oh wait, hang on. I forgot about the objections. So what if we quote the rate and they're like, no, that's a little high. So how do we overcome those objections? And didn't we just have the training on this, overcoming objections? So what's important to handle an objection? You want to make sure you're clarifying their objection. You want to make sure you listen and fully understand what their concern is. For example, if it's rate, well, what rate were you expecting? And we have rate integrity, so we're not going to just automatically drop that rate when they say, oh, that's too high. Good way to overcome that is kind of resell your features and benefits. Well, Sally, that rate includes the Wi-Fi and the breakfast that you were looking for. You were going to call the full service Hilton, and I will tell you their rates do not include those. So you're going to get the best rate if you book with me. You can offer a concession to overcome it as well, would be another example. And again, make sure those trial close questions, when you're overcoming the objection, how will that work for you? How does that sound? That kind of deal. Okay, and then the last, I think, paper in your handout was the objection probing question and then best possible answer, which everyone has their documents from the previous training on those. So now I will play a shop call. This was 100% one, and it's me that you'll hear. And it was a couple years ago, 3 years ago, back in 19. And I'm hoping the audio comes through okay on this computer. You guys hear that okay, or does it sound crazy?
I can't
No,
hear
I
anything.
can't hear it.
I don't hear
Jenny, I
anything.
can't hear it at all.
Okay.
I
Well,
didn't hear
here's what I
anything.
will do then. It's 14 minutes. I will email it out to everyone, and then you guys can listen to it. And then shoot me over any questions. Does anyone have any questions? I know quite a few of you have been through this training a couple times before. My old timers like Blake and Kim and Michelle. I don't think Katie's been through it too, but I don't think Corey, Justin, Rosemary, you've been through this one, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been through this.
Okay. All right. So I will email out the recording. I didn't know if it would play through the computer good or not. So I'll send that over to you guys. You guys have any questions? Was this helpful? We're using our sales process in our everyday lives.
Yeah, it was a good refresher.
Yes, Jenny, we are every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Good refresher.
It's always helpful. Thank you.
Good. Well, I appreciate you all. Y'all been rocking it. We've definitely seen an uptick in travel these past few weeks. So keep it up. Keep up your prospecting. Make those sales call goals, and make sure to use your sales process. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks, Jenny. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.